This is for you. This is for your dad, your brother, your uncle, your nephew, your godfather, your boyfriend. This is for all men. This is for all men. For all men. This is for all men.
Men telling women to smile more. Men making traditional gender-based assumptions. Men thinking that women can't function without them. Men wanting women to look stereotypically female. Men believing that women should match the media's beauty standards. Men seeing a female server's name tag and using it to flirt. Men thinking women can't be funny. Men thinking women's place is in the kitchen. Men thinking women shouldn't drink beer. Men wanting women to dress scandalously. Men telling women how to dress. Men expecting women to be interested in having a conversation. Men thinking women should eat less than them. Men thinking
in a ratty, restless pub downtown, a waitress is making her way round. Serving customers with a cheerful grin, she brings light to dull surroundings. But as a man snatches her by her arm, her smile dissolves from her face. She tries to pull free and glares at him as the man turns and says, "God, the things I'd do to you if I were 30 years younger."
Men expecting women to be weak. Men expecting women to be weak. Men assuming women
There's a certain phrase,
to lose weight.
and it's being used progressively more to derail a conversation like this.
Men viewing muscles.
It's used by those who seek attention, those who feel like they deserve a pat on the back, those who want to be told, "Good for you, you're not one of them."
Different tone to women.
But now is not the time to make you feel good about yourself. It makes you the problem.
Smart for a girl.
It makes you the danger.
Men
Because those who actually use this phrase are probably the most capable of doing what we're talking about.
Men telling women
Because it's too many to not be
ladylike.
All men.
Men talking shit about
All
women
men.
behind their back. Men having to be the dominant figure. Men preferring smaller girls because they like to be in control. Men only helping women to gain from it. Men preferring smaller girls because they like to be in control. Men only helping women to gain from it. Teachers telling the strong boys to lift chairs. Men expecting women to take on the female roles within a company. Men emphasizing when a job is done by a woman. A female soldier. A female doctor.
Men sit atop a mountain of privilege,
Women.
but as soon as that privilege is questioned, they feel personally attacked.
Men saying that
But that privilege won't go away. Patriarchal society is built on its foundations. But by allowing that privilege to overshadow the constant maltreatment of women, men aren't hearing women's discussions on their suffering.
When they express
All men
emotions.
have to listen.
Men policing women's tone. Men expecting women to fail. Men fat shaming. Men mom shaming. Men policing women's tone. Men expecting women to fail. Men fat shaming. Men mom shaming. Men period shaming. Men slut shaming.
Innocent yellow street lamp flickers on the railway platform.
Men being repulsed
Underneath,
when
a young
women
woman is lit briefly as she strides towards the oncoming train and waits for it to arrive.
In their body count.
A figure like a shadow glides behind the woman, avoiding the glowing stream of light. The screeching train pulls into the station and halts with a boisterous mechanical sigh.
Men thinking that they deserve more money for
The girl
same job
flinches.
as a woman.
She pretends she hasn't noticed her ghostly Paris sight as the doors swivel open. A few more figures emerge.
Men
From the
saying
carriage.
homosexuals want a threesome.
She urges onto the train and collapses on a seat. A modest puff of dust hovers around the great blue fabric. The girl, relieved, secures her muddled, curly locks. A biting breeze like static sends a shiver up her spine.
Men assuming there is always
The figure reemerges in her right peripheral. He sits just far right enough for the girl to pretend that she cannot see him, but she can feel his penetrating eyes.
Men wolf.
Her ears are blazing red, her eyes are full of panic, her staggered breath hesitant under her lips that tremble as his hand reaches into his dark blue denim trousers. A lonely tear slips down her cheek.
Men putting their hand on a woman's
A few moments pass. The girl frozen in time until the train pulls into the next station. As the doors swivel open once again,
Interested in them.
she crashes onto the platform and scurries to the exit.
Men getting rejected by women and then.
This is not her stop. She glances behind her to ensure the man's not there. Just before the tick barrier, she hovers. Tears cascade her
Men
face.
pursuing women even when they say they
As
are
the
not
train
interested in
vanishes
them.
from the station, she returns
Men
to the platform.
see disinterest as a challenge.
and awaits the next one.
Men presuming women who
Alone.
argue with them have daddy issues. You were ugly anyway. Men pursuing women even when they say they are not interested in them. Men who see disinterest as a challenge.
This message goes out to all men
Men
because
presuming women who argue with them have daddy issues.
could you
Men making decisions about women's bodies.
because we need all men so that we can do something about it.
Men openly discussing women's bodies.
Because not all men have to watch what they're wearing before going out. Not all men have to share their phone location with their friends when going out.
Men being
Not all men have to clutch their keys between their knuckles. Not all men have to fear going to the police when reporting an assault.
Men playing devil's
Could
advocate
you-
when women share their lived experience.
Never mind.
Men catcalling women and expecting them to see it
Thank
as a
you.
compliment. Men wolf whistling at women and expecting them to see it as a compliment. Men ogling at women and expecting them to see it as a compliment.
In a desolate supermarket aisle, a young woman fixes grand displays. Next to her, a man admires her hard work as she moves on to the next one. He shadows her every footstep and watches her up close. He slowly glides towards her so she can feel his breath. As the girl quickly turns to leave the distressing space, he shoots to plant a kiss upon her cheek.
Men wanting to take women to a swimming pool on a first date so that they have to be makeup free.
If 97% of women are sexually harassed, it isn't just a small fraction of men doing the harassing. It isn't just rapists and murderers. It's normal people too. It's the cumulative buildup of little things by normal
men expecting women to just sit and take.
By normal guys, dads, uncles, brothers, friends. They do it too. And by saying it's not every single one of them is like saying there aren't too many instances where inappropriate things are happening to women.
Men refusing to buy sanitary products for women.
I just want that to be heard.
Men refusing to make period products free of charge. Men who don't take responsibility for contraception. Men using power to attract women. Men name-calling women they don't know. Love.
Within the crimson velvet of the lingerie section, a young woman hangs a lacy nightgown.
Sweetie.
Behind her, a man examines a charcoal two-piece as he strolls up to the working girl. "Try this on," he demands of her,
Honey.
as he shoves the hanger in her hand. "I'm lonely," he adds as the girl takes a step back and struggles for something to say.
Men not
"You would
standing
look
up.
so hot," he exclaims. "Wear it as if you were my wife."
Men over women.
He tries again to push the hanger in her hand, but the shocked girl
patronizing women.
turns away.
Men feeling like the victim. Men calling women crazy. Men calling women hysterical. Mansplaining. Men refusing to accept women in positions of power. Men refusing to accept women in positions of power.
The thing is, they claim it's not all men because they fear their reputation, all the while women are fearing for their lives.
As power.
They say they don't want to be accused, but they wouldn't feel accused if they had no reason to. People only defend themselves like that when they fit the bill.
Men putting their hands.
They warn their daughters of how dangerous men can be, their sisters of how dangerous friends can be, yet they rush to defend themselves when women criticize their behaviors.
Thighs.
Maybe it's not all men, but it's way too many.
Butts.
Because how many men are actively trying to help?
Men sharing women's.
How many men are taking the blame even if it doesn't apply to them and doing something about it?
Men wanting a girl to be tight.
Too few. Too few men hold their friends accountable. Too few men see the misogyny that appropriates women. Too few men use their privilege to stand up for this issue. Too few men do the work, read the books. Too few men listen. And I mean actually listen to what women are talking about. Because women are not trying to play the victim. They are just sick and tired for being criticized for blaming the offender. Maybe it's not all men.
Men thinking feminism means they.
But it could be any man. It's not a risk we're willing to take.
Discussion right now. Men not wanting to have this discussion right now. Men thinking women are too angry about this right now.
Are you honestly surprised that we're scared?
Men having a problem with the issue being raised rather than the actual issue. Unsolicited dick pics. Did you see what?
As the roaring music rushes through her body and the liquid gold courses through her veins, a young woman flushes another shot down her system while she grooves to the rhythm of the night. The living room became an 80s disco with foreign faces everywhere she looked. It was exciting, a room full of possibilities. Drinking games, guitars being played, quite up her street, she thought. As she flushes down another drink, she feels it gushing down her throat. She feels warm and hazy, but mostly warm, as people begin to vanish. But the feeling was still there, so she decides to stay a little longer. As she flushes down her last shot of the night, hoping she's not gone too far, she focuses on the music, the tickle of the strings, the pounding of the bass, the hypnotic melody. She feels good. She thinks, aware of what's around her, but buzzing nonetheless. She feels alive. She thinks, grateful for the joy inside her head. The company drops down to 3, and the music is hushed very gently. Too dazed to oppose, she is taken to the bedroom and invited to spend the night with them. Her innocent and hazy mind found comfort in not having to find her way back home. She stayed. She was never the same again. For in that dusky student bedroom, the reins were taken from her hands. Before she knew it was happening, the other girl had stripped her body bare. As the bed rattled against the hollow walls, every part of her was exposed. The one thing that she will never get over was the shadow of the boy on the side. She remembers how he encouraged it, eager to have a thrilling night, and told his girlfriend to take the girl to bed while he stood and watched and moaned and cussed and...
Men not believing we are in a patriarchal society. Men not trusting their friends with women they care about, but then not correcting their behavior. Men dismissing this conversation. Men being the reason why women can't walk home alone at night.
I wish it was not all men.
Hearing this list and feeling like...
I wish we could live in a society where men want to solve this issue more than they want to prove they're not the problem. I wish men would amplify our voices rather than silence them.
Men hearing this list and feeling like it doesn't apply to them. Hearing this list and feeling like it doesn't Men hearing this list and feeling like it doesn't apply to them.
Thank you.